Students with collaborations in Philippines can study and report.
对，
Introduction one, first one. As a country where English is the official language, the Philippines has many advantages that make it one of the ideal destinations for international students to study. English education. The Philippines is a country where English is the official language, so its education settings use English as the main language of introduction. This enables international students to study in an English-speaking environment and improve their English.
Philippine students visa consolidation is the practice of learning and law translation in the student visa.
声音大一点。
In the Philippines, this we have
你不会读，你跳过这个词儿就行。
many visa of case 30 reference students and practice paying reference to obtain a precise authority journalists 30 reference etc. Practicing in outside learnings and stating in result application shows that may rest in the days and practice of student result Philippine students result consolidation is the practice of learning and law translation in the student result
声音大一点。
in the Philippines, this we have
你不会读，你跳过这个词儿就行。
many result of case 30 reference students and practice paying reference to obtain a precise authority journalists 30 reference etc. Practicing in outside learnings and stating in result application shows that they may rest in the days and practice of student result
Methodology. First one, the specialist situation is due to lack of separation influenced training pressure to achieve goals and activities of grow up the cultural norms. Number two, it is easy to be ignored due to the lack of internal control, the ineffective audits, the fear of relation, the lack of protection for whistleblowers, and the lack of transparency of the visa processing system. Number three, this is possibility. X is due to weak governance, political intervention, resource countries cultural tolerances of co-optation, and lack of active ability at all levels. Why did the co-optation occur in the student visa system? Why was there a lack of oversight and accountability? Why was the regulatory framework weak and poorly enforced? Why was there a lack of political will to address corruption? Why is the interest and culture of impunity exist?
This is the analysis for government. Number one, lack of transparency. When government operations lack of openness, it paves the way for corruption to thrive since actions can be kept hidden from view. Because lack of transparency can be used by the government officials to continue their agenda in getting money off the public. Number two, weak institutions. Ineffective supervision and enforcement mechanisms in bodies can result in corrupt behaviors going unnoticed. If we have weak institutions in investigating how the money is used by the officials, we can eliminate them since the institutions have no power to investigate what are they doing because they are weak or incapable to do so. And number three, political interference. When public institutions become politicized appointments may be based on loyalty than qualifications, creating an environment to corruption. Here in the Philippines, they normalize this kind of appointments in position to government, even though they don't have the quality of a servant in that kind of office, but they still get appointed because that person can be useful to them when they have illegal activities to do. Yeah. And number four, financial incentives. Government officials may resort to activities to benefit themselves due to constraints or personal greed. Government officials they do so much activities like in road widening, building some establishments, and etc. They overprice the equipments, the labor, and etc. So they will gain so much money on that project. And number five, cultural practices. In cultures, corruption might be deeply rooted, leading to its acceptance or even expectation among those in government roles. Because political dynasty are very prominent here in the Philippines. In any part of the country, you will see that there are government officials that are blood related that runs in the same city or province says that allows them to gain power in that place.
On to analyzes media, sensationalisms and misrepresentations. Media outlets in the Philippines often prioritize sensational story over substantive reportings, focus on scandals and controversies rather than in-depth analysis of government issues. These sensationalisms can perpetrate negative perceptions of politicians and public officials, fostering a cultural and distrust and cynicism toward the government. Bias and partisan reportings. Media ownership in the Philippines is often concentrated in the hand of a few powerful individuals or families with political affiliations. This can result in biased reporting that serve the interests of specific politicians or party, undermining transparencies and accountabilities in governance. Biased reporting may also contribute to the proliferations of misinformations and disinformations, making it difficult for the public to discern truth from propaganda. Lack of investigative journalism. Despite some notable exceptions, investigative journalism in the Philippines is often hindered by limited resources, legal threat, and intimidations. Journalists who attempt to uncover the corruptions or wrongdoing may face harassment, violence, and legal reprisals, discouraging critical reporting over government issues. This lack of investigative journalism allows corruptions to thrive with impunities and perpetrators are less likely to be held accountable for their actions. Influence of advertisers and political elite. Medical outlets in the Philippines rely heavily on advertising revenues, which can create conflict of interest. When advertisers and political elite exert undue influence over editorial content, this influence may manifest in self-censorship or suppressions of stories that are critical of advertiser or political allies, further eroding media independence and integrity. Weak regulatory framework. Regulatory framework governing media in the Philippines is often criticized for being ineffective and susceptible to political interference. Weak enforcement of media regulations allow unethical parties such as paid news and propaganda to go unchecked, contributing to erosions of public trust as a watchdog of democracies.
Analyze society. Here's the 5 why to analyze. Number one, why does the corruption persist in issues related to visa for foreign students? Because they may be familiar with the laws, language, and the culture of the target country, leading to the information asymmetry and the difficulties in social adaptations in foreign land, compounded by their limited time for studying and living in their target country, rendering them marginal. Second, why does the marginalized group, which is foreign students, very limited influence in the society? Because they often lack social resources and power, hindering the effective dissemination and the expression of their voice and demands. Three, why do they lack social resources and powers? Because foreign students represent a relatively new marginalized group in the past few decades. They have not been permanent demographic, resulting in insufficient attention to their interests. The fourth why haven't the interest of the international students garnered widely spread attention? Because they constitute a relatively new group. relatively small in numbers and may not have established a unified organization or representative body. They face challenge in voice their concerning and gaining societal attention. Okay.
So this is the solution for government corruptions. Number 1, strengthening transparency and accountability. Implementing measures to ensure government operations are transparent, such as open data initiatives and whistleblower protections, can help expose corrupt activities. Number 2, reforming institutions. Enhancing the effectiveness of oversight bodies and enforcement mechanisms can prevent corrupt behaviors from going unchecked. This may involve improving recruitment processes to prioritize qualifications over political allegiance. Number 3, minimizing political interference. Depoliticizing public institutions and ensuring appointments are based on merit rather than political connections can reduce opportunities of corruption. Number 4, implementing anti-corruption measures. Enforcing and strengthening anti-corruption laws and regulations, along with implementing an effective monitoring and enforcement mechanisms, can deter corrupt practices. Number 5, changing cultural norms. Promoting a culture of integrity and honesty within governmental settings through education, awareness, campaigns, and ethical leadership can help combat deeply rooted cultural acceptance of corruption. Number 6, international cooperation. Collaboration with international organizations and other countries to share best practices, information, and resources can bolster anti-corruption efforts globally.
Solution for media problems. You need to strengthen media independence, implement measures to safeguard media independence, including law protecting journalism from harassment, intimidations, and legal reprisals. Ensure that media ownership is transparent and diversified to prevent undue influence from political and corporate interests. Promote investigative journalism. Provide resources and support for investigative journalism, including training for journalists and funding over independent media organizations. Encourage collaborations between journalists, civil societies, and government agencies to uncover the corruptions and hold the perpetrators accountable. Enhance media literacies. Invest in media literacy program to empower citizens to critically evaluate news sources, recognize informations, and demand factual and balanced reportings. Educate the public about the importance of media freedoms and its role in promoting transparencies and accountabilities in governance. Strengthen regulatory mechanisms. Reform and strengthen regulatory bodies tasked with overseeing media practices, ensuring independence, transparencies, and accountability in their operations. Enforce existing regulations effectively, including law governing media, ownership, advertising standard, and ethical conduct. Support civic engagement and freedom of information. Empower civil society organizations, citizen journalists, and watchdog groups to monitor media practices and advocate the transparencies and accountability in media governance. Strengthen access to information law and mechanisms to facilitate public access to government data and promote transparency in decision-making processes. Encourage ethical reporting. Promote ethical reporting practices among media professionals, including adherence to journalist standard of accuracy, fairness, and impartiality. Encourage media outlets to adopt code of conduct and establish internal mechanisms for addressing complaints and ensuring accountabilities to unethical behavior. Foster media diversity. Support the development of diverse and independent media outlets, including community-based media, online platforms, and alternative sources of information. Encourage competitions and innovation in media industry to ensure the priorities of voices and perspectives.
Solution, society. Establish a foreign student organization advocating for student rights in the financially constrained environment can be achieved through the following methods. Number 1, volunteer service and support. Utilize students' voluntary time and skills to operate the organization, including leadership roles, activity organizations, document writing, and promotional efforts. 2, collaborate with other organizations, partner with campus organizations, international student office, and academic institutions to co-host activities, share the rewards, and reduce the cost. Number 3, establish a sustainable model. Develop long-term financial plan and a sustainable strategy, seeking stable funding sources and conducting ongoing fundraising campaigns. 4, harnessing community support. Utilize support